This is my tent from last night. Cowboy camping is when you camp outside and you don't use your tent, you just sleep in the great outdoors. This is the danger of cowboy camping. Look what happened to my tent last night. I don't know if there were some pterodactyls hanging out in the tree above me, but something really big must have flew out of this tree right behind me and dropped quite a bit of bird dropping on my tent. So if you cowboy camp, probably want to stay away from a tree, because when birds fly out of the trees, a lot of times they're exerting so much energy they clean the chute, if you know what I mean. But anyway, this is South Mountain Hotel, where I've been staying for the last 2 nights, and Mama John will be here to pick me up in about 3 hours. Papa John, day 88. Yesterday was a 0, today's a 0, tomorrow will be a 0, as well as the day after that, and maybe after that. Shin splint in my right leg. It's not bad, but it's bad enough to where I could be in the woods and not be able to make it to the next shelter if it got really bad. So I've seen worse. My buddy Death March Dan took 11 days off because of his shin splints. He had shin splints in both his legs, and they were swollen up. My leg was swollen up one night, and it's a little swollen up now, but I saw his were bad. So I'm hoping if it took him 11 days, maybe I can get by with 4 or 5 days. And remember how I said you got to take your zeros before you get hurt? I probably waited too long to take a 0 and just kept pushing on, and you need your rest. I'll keep y'all posted. This is the South Mountain Hotel. They let you camp out here. They got food, beer, music. It's the only gig in town, man. It's a little town. Well, off the trail. I've been off the trail for 2 days now. Don't know that my shin's feeling that much better, but at least it's probably a little more rested. And I don't know of any way to help this thing recover other than rest, ice, compression, elevation, and just take it one day at a time. Tomorrow will be it'll be my third 0. Not many people take triple zeros. I know Mosey Mike did, but he did it because of the weather. And I kind of joked with him about that. But hopefully he'll start feeling better in a couple of days.